Hello, once again, sixth graders. I am making this video to show you the answers to lesson 11. I'm going to start with the exercises from lesson 11, exercises 1 and 2. 1 had us applying the distributive property to write equivalent expressions. So I'm looking at number 1, part A. Part A was 7x plus 7y. So if I look at 7x plus 7y, I'm thinking about the number 7. And I know the number 7 is a prime number. So its only factors are 7 and 1. So if I am going to write an equivalent expression for 7x plus 7y, I'm simply going to use the number 7 outside the parentheses and distribute it across x and y. And so that's what it would end up looking like. Okay? Does that make sense? Remember, we don't use a coefficient of 1 in front of x. It's just assumed that it's already there. So it would be 7 times x plus 7 times y. The 7 would distribute to the x and to the y. Okay? I'm now looking at letter B, 15g plus 20h. So I want to think about 15 and 20. I know 15 and 20 are both multiples of 5. So I'm going to use that knowledge of 5 to help me to distribute. So 5 is my common factor. So 5 would go outside of the parentheses. And then I know 5 times 3 is 15. So that would go with G. And that 5 times 4 is 20. So that would go with H. And that is the equivalent expression that I've come up with. And when you distribute, 5 gets distributed to the 3, G, so that gives me the 15, and then 5 is distributed to the 4, H, 5 times 4, that gives you the 20, okay? Hopefully that's making sense. I'm going to skip down and I'm going to look at letter E next. I feel like C and D are similar to A and B. So when I look at E, I see 11F plus 15F. Now, what do we know about the number 11? It's prime. The only factors for 11 are 1 times 11. So when I look at that one, I know that I'm not going to use 1 as a distributing factor. But oh look, my variable is F in both cases. So I can use the F outside the parentheses to go ahead and distribute it. And then I would put those coefficients inside the parentheses. So that's how that ends up looking. All right. Let's then skip down and look at letter G, because F is really the same as E. So if I look at letter G, I have 55M plus 11. All right. I know 11 is prime, but I also know when I multiply a number times 11, I kind of just like double that number. So I know 5 times 11 is 55, which makes me kind of happy in this case. So I can use 11 as the distributing factor across 5m, because 11 times 5 would be 55. And then I have to add in over here 11 times what? Because I have to get back to 11. So I have to add in plus 1. Because 11 times 1 gets me to 11. And when I distribute across, 11 is distributed to the 5m, which gives me 55m. And then 11 gets distributed to the 1, which gets me back to the 11 that I wanted. Okay, so that was exercise 1. Let's go ahead and look at exercise 2, where they are telling me what x and y equals. So if I look at letter A, I have 6x plus 21y, and x equals 3 and y equals 4. So I'm going to rewrite that problem as 6 times 3 plus 7 times, 21 times 4. So that's what that looks like. All right. And then when I go ahead and solve it, 6 times 3, I would go ahead and I would get 18. So that is what I would write right down below that if we're thinking about the order of operations. And then 21 times 4 is 84. So that gets written right below. So I have 18 plus 84 if I continue to solve. And then 18 plus 84, down below, I would write 102. So that is my final answer. In A, they also give you 3 distributed across 2x plus 7y, which is basically the same thing that we've done here. 3 times 2 is the 6, and then 3 times 7, that gives me the 21. So I would have 3 times 2 times 3, which is the 6, plus 3 times 7 times 4. And that's what that would look like when I go ahead and insert those values for that variable. And then I would end up with the same answer. I would have 3 inside parentheses. I would get 6 plus 28 with 3 on the outside. And then you can distribute if you want, like distribute the 3 across the 6, and you'd end up with 18 and 84 again. Or you could solve inside those parentheses and then go ahead and multiply by 3. Either way, you're going to come up with the same answer. So if we did 6 plus 28, 34 times the 3. So that's how that shakes out. Sorry. And then we end up with 102 at the end, no matter what. Either way, we end up with the same answer. And so that's how that works. B is the same. They're giving you a value for G. And if you turn the page, C is also similar. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions. Go through, check your work. Hopefully this is making some sense. Hopefully I can figure out how to get this uploaded and worked out for you. All right, take care.